Nice to meet everybody. My name is Sean Clercq. I am the founder and CEO of Kickfurther. My background prior to starting Kickfurther is in supply chain management. So I worked with tons of product businesses. They were outsourcing their manufacturing to China. That's the family business. And what we saw is that pretty much every single time you get your supply chain set up, the next immediate question is, how do I pay for this production run, right? And as we delved into the industry, we found that this was really a massive problem across pretty much every single product entrepreneur has the same issue where you get an order or you have customer demand, but there's this ongoing cash flow pinch and cash flow cycle for product entrepreneurs. And there was no good one-size-fits-all inventory funding solution, right? So you've got all these other options out there: daily debit, merchant cash advance, factoring, PO finance, WIP, on and on and on, but nothing specific for funding the inventory assets that are going to power really the entire retail market, not just in the US, but globally. So we saw this as a really big opportunity. Our thought was, what we can do here is we can introduce a solution that is a better fit for all of these product entrepreneurs. So again, everybody goes through the same issue. You have to pay for your inventory long before the inventory ships, much less before the inventory actually sells, and you get to earn revenue from it, right? And on the minimum cycle, this is 60 days, 30 days production, 30 days shipping if you're selling direct to consumer and you start to see that revenue coming in. It's even more painful if you're selling to a group like Target, Amazon, Whole Foods, because then they're putting a 30, 60, 90, 100-day payment term, and it can be 6 months from when you have to pay for your physical goods to when you actually get paid for delivering those goods. So we saw that the traditional finance solutions in market weren't serving the needs of this marketplace, right? So I mentioned we've got merchant cash advance, daily debit products, but they really did not meet the entrepreneurs where they needed to be, right? So if you look at any kind of loan and you look at the cash flow cycles for a product entrepreneur, you've got these big peaks and troughs, right? And you need to fund the inventory here, and there's very little cash, and then you hit your holiday season, right? And all the cash comes in and everybody's happy. So that doesn't really actually fit that well with a traditional loan. Revenue finance works a little bit better, but it's still more restrictive and punitive. And importantly, almost every single solution does not actually provide the amount of financing that these product entrepreneurs need. So what we see is that growth is inhibited on an ongoing basis because they can't achieve the level of capital support that allows them to grow their business. So this is just a market slide. So yes, very much ripe for disruption. We saw that there was a big opportunity. We see that this is global. There is the same thing that happens in America happens pretty much all over the world. And just in the US, the physical inventory market exceeds $1.3 trillion of assets annually. So it's a massive market, $4 trillion of retail activity in the US every year. And then globally, it's about 5 times that. So really nice big market to get into here. So we've introduced our solution. So on our solution, unlike everybody else, we are not a balance sheet lender. We operate as a true inventory marketplace. And uniquely, as far as I know, to this day, we are still the only inventory asset exchange that leverages the well-founded UCC consignment. So inventory on consignment is really well known. If you looked at how BlackRock is funding a GE floor plan, they do it through consignment. Or if you look at how car dealerships sometimes or boat dealerships, right, they'll fund on consignment. And the reason for that is because consignment has a bunch of really nice attributes for the funders and for the borrowers, right? On the borrower side, they get the inventory they need at 100% COGS, so it meets that financing requirement for the growth of their business. And for the funder side or for the investor lender side, inventory consignment gives you the most senior secured rights over the inventory assets and any proceeds from the inventory assets. And that's really important because I talk to other people and we've gone through this, and it's like, why would I do inventory on consignment and not a merchant cash advance? And the answer is because a merchant cash advance is secured against kind of everything else against the business, right? But inventory consignment, I kind of describe it as the lifeblood, right? These product entrepreneurs, their entire cash flow cycle operates off of their physical goods. So if you are the most senior secured interest on that, right, you have a really good position as these businesses are going through and continuing to operate their businesses. And inventory in the environment that we're heading into has a bunch of pretty attractive attributes to it as well. So on one hand, it is relatively short duration. So we're seeing an average inventory turn on Kickfurther is between 5 to 6 months, which meets that timeline I described earlier. We're seeing very attractive consignment profit being earned by the funders on our platform. So for the top tier, the least risky co-ops that we're funding, co-ops are consignment opportunities. That's a little internal Kickfurther lingo. For the top tier, the A quality, we are expecting a 14.5% annualized consignment profit, which is essentially an XIRR measure because these are short term. So you're looking at turning the capital multiple times a year. We're also seeing that this is broadly uncorrelated. You know, the equity market goes way up, equity market goes way down, but guess what? People still need to go back to school. They're buying backpacks, shoes, clothes, right? The economy keeps going, right? And we see that the ongoing transaction of goods continues. And one of the great benefits is that it is highly diversified. So we currently work with over 250 product businesses. We funded about $80 million of inventory this year. We're looking on track to fund about $120 million of inventory next year. And you know, because these guys are coming back every 6 months, you can get diversified across 100 different product entrepreneurs in 1 quarter, right? And so it's a really nice diversification opportunity there as well. We've been doing this for 10 years, just about 10 years. Tim Draper actually led our seed round way back in 2017. And so we have of the risk of physical inventory assets. So if you look at almost all alternative assets, what you have are very broad, very general risk criteria, right? Which we use as well, right? Like, does the business have money? Are they growing? Are they shrinking? So on and so forth, right? Debt to revenue ratio. But uniquely on Kickfurther, we have a bunch of risk attributes that we analyze based on our historical data set, having done this for 10 years, that are specific to physical inventory assets, right? Where are the goods being manufactured? How often have they worked with this supplier before? Distribution, right? How likely is it that they're actually going to turn this inventory and make it liquid again so that they can pay off the consignment? So we are, again, as far as I know, the only group that exists that is specific to physical inventory assets as an asset class. And that is really the uniqueness of what we're doing. We're not a lender, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a new asset class. And I say new in that what's new about it is the access, right? Because again, if you're BlackRock, you can go and fund GE's floor plan. But for all of the other entrepreneurs, if you're neither GE and you're not BlackRock, where are these inventory asset opportunities for you in market? They simply don't exist, right? So you can go and you can fund a merchant cash advance, or you can go fund revenue somewhere else. But for this actual physical asset class and having the most secured interest on it, there is no other solution in market, again, as far as I know. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, because I'd love to learn about some competitors. I mentioned we've been doing this for 10 years. Very excitingly, we've recently deployed a machine learning model that is built off of a historical data set across thousands of deals. Between the main training data set is 2018 through 2021. And prior to the machine learning model, we were operating as a pass-fail heuristic, right? So if you have enough de-risking attributes, you pass. That's why you're seeing here that the top tier actually has enhanced returns against the riskier tiers, because everybody was clearing at the same risk profile, and then they were all getting the same marketplace rate, right? So the least risky businesses actually ended up earning the best annualized consignment profit margin. Now, today, what we have is a machine learning model that has separated these risk tiers out. You think Pro is A, Plus is B, Select is C, and just interestingly, as the macroeconomic environment has shifted, what we've seen is pretty much across the industry in alternative finance or small medium business finance, pretty much everybody in the last couple of years through these historic rate hikes, right, have had the opportunity to do one of two things. Either you improve your quality or you increase your prices, right? And if you didn't do one of those two things, what were you doing in the last 12 or 24 months? So we at Kickfurther, very intentionally, I agree with Jeff, the first speaker, that I do think that we're headed towards a relatively potentially rocky period. And so one of the things that we've done very intentionally and consciously as an organization is we pulled ourselves up that quality curve. So if you looked at our deal flow a year ago, about 40% of it was in the riskiest tiers, the Ds and the Fs. Today, 80% of all deal flow by volume is in the A and B category. We have a little bit of C, about 20%, and no Ds, no Fs. We essentially completely eliminated the bottom 2 quintiles of risk based on our machine learning model. And where that's interesting is that we've seen volumes continue to increase. So as credit tightens across the industry, there are great opportunities to fund really, really strong product businesses because guess what? Their banks or their merchant cash advance or whatever lenders have tightened up credit and reduced access to finance. So there are a ton of really, really great opportunities hitting the market today. And so we feel well positioned to capture those. Anything else on the slide? So we have an allocation tool on Kickfurther, which means if you guys only want to take the pros, you can only allocate 100% into the pros. If you want to take a higher risk approach, you can take more of the Bs or the Cs. And as I mentioned, there is currently no market for the Ds. So if you want to be the market maker for that lower risk segment, that's also a nascent opportunity on our marketplace. Higher risk, let's call them. Let's not, where the metrics didn't track as well based on our historical performance data. So we have no funding for the Ds today. So there's a market maker opportunity there. So how can you participate? So what we have is, I just mentioned this Copilot tool. So it's really nifty. We've developed this over the last year in tandem with the machine learning model. So now you can go on kickfurther.com, create an account, sign up for Copilot, and you essentially set allocation criteria, right? Hey, for the A's, just to let you guys know, we're typically funding those at about 1.2% a month. If you fund A's at 1.2, you can expect to receive a lot of allocations. If you fund A's at 1.3, the other liquidity providers are going to get the allocations first, right? So we have this tool that allows you to essentially set criteria for whatever portfolio you would like, including the ability to set a max allocation for, let's say I only want 30% of the Bs, right? You can control that and limit your portfolio exposure. And of course, we have team members that are happy to help you get set up and to take you through that onboarding process. The other thing you can do, which is more, let's say, higher participation, right, is actually log in. We have deals that come up every single day. So we have some users that are coming in and they don't use our tool, but they literally evaluate it consignment opportunity by consignment opportunity, and they kind of pick their spots. Generally, I would say, unless you have a differentiated view or some inside knowledge of a certain industry, I have seen very, very good results from our machine learning model, and I would encourage people to at least evaluate that. And so for IvyFON, we've developed a special little offer today. So if anybody would like to come to Kickfurther today, we have a QR code here that you can scan, and for every $10,000 deployed, we will offer $300 of credit, so kind of like 3% funding. We are seeing that, we've had about 80% growth this year. So the pace of growth on the marketplace has outpaced liquidity. So we have a bunch of options. We've got a lot of great deals coming up in Q4. We see a lot of interest in Q1. And so we would be really happy to meet with anybody here and take you through or answer any questions and show you what we're doing over at Kickfurther. So thank you.
So what are minimums and what's your largest investor or what's your industry rating?
Yeah, so our largest investor is Grand Oaks Capital, is Tom Golisano's family office. They have about $30 million of capital allocated to the platform. The minimum is you can log in as an individual user and start participating with $200. So, literally no minimum, you can come on, try it out. I don't know if we have a minimum for this offer. Is 10,000 the minimum for this offer, Tisha?
Yeah.
So 10,000 to qualify for the offer is the minimum here. So you have to hit that hurdle rate.
What kind of loan to asset value do you use? Because obviously if you get stuck with inventory,
you're not getting tapped out.
Yeah, exactly. So liquidation inventory is the biggest risk that we face, right? And because of the nature of consignment, right, to get those special benefits of being the most secured and all of those things, you do have to take the inventory risk. So to answer the question directly, 100% loan to asset value. Now, what we do on Kickfurther, if anybody's familiar with like, I think this is kind of popular in real estate, is a turbo feature, right? So as they sell through the inventory, they're not just paying back exactly what they owe, they pay a little bit more. So typically what we're seeing is that our deals are cleared out. We call it the percentage sold for completion at 80%. So once 80% of the inventory is sold, the entire consignment obligation is due to be paid.
From a machine learning point of view, what is your data showing that is the sweet spot for the industry that is giving you the lowest defaults versus the industries that are giving you the highest defaults? Is your machine learning that accurate, and is there sufficient data to make you feel comfortable that your machine has learned enough?
Like so like trending basically.
Yeah.
By vertical. So what I can tell you is that the verticals that have the best quality deals today are actually food and bev. So we're seeing food and beverage, right? So repeat purchases, like people that sell nuts through e-commerce, right? And they get customers that just keep ordering their same nuts because they love them, right? Stuff like that. So we're seeing food and bev is very, very strong for us right now. I would not make, yeah.
An answer thing, women-owned businesses do better. Do you go to that level?
We do not have that data point. I could not tell you whether women-owned businesses do better. Yeah.
Well, I
So-
know they do.
Right.
I'm asking, does your machine know?
No, we don't, that is not one of the risk data points that we ingest. So we look at this vertical by vertical and we see where we are getting the highest quality deals. But I do not think that we have sufficient data, right, to start pricing the risk by vertical. So, you know, we're doing, again, 250 signed businesses today, right? And I think we've got maybe 60 in food and bev. So it's one of our biggest categories and it's performing well, but I'm not a data scientist. I couldn't tell you with confidence that it's statistically significant today.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to just add though, on the women-owned business, it's a new initiative we're working on launching for Q1. So we are partnering with a group, Angel.co in San Francisco, to bring their network of primarily female investor community to the platform. And one of the things they're very, very keen on is knowing which businesses are women-owned. And so we're starting to bring, so that's a new initiative we're launching in Q1. And so we will at some point have that data.
That's good.
Can you give some background on what you did before this?
Yes, what I did before this. So I cut my teeth in my family supply chain management company. So working with other people, essentially, hey, I buy this for this amount here. And it's like, we can get it for you better quality or cheaper or whatever else over there. So I kind of just learned all about supply chain management for about 10 years working with my family business. I started my own company where it was like buy for X, sell for Y, right? Just like a standard merchandising play. Our biggest customer was Orchard Brands, nothing too exciting, like a catalog retailer that primarily operates in the Midwest. But that business was exciting. I mean, it was good, right? It grew from 600,000 to $1 million of sales between year 1 and 2. So I was pretty happy with that. But then we literally hit the inventory finance issue, right? Got a massive order, couldn't find any finance in market. It was literally a 5% discount per month on my PO, and it just destroyed my margins like that. And it became very evident to me going and talking to other vendors that there was just no good solution for inventory funding in market. So that's why I started Kickfurther.
Any other questions? Fantastic, great. Is there a markup?
Until liquidity on the inventory.
So it's just liquidity.
Yeah, until the inventory sells. We do a 2-week invoice cycle right now.
So again, short duration credit, 20% coupon on the highest risk, which has a less than 1% default rate.
So the A's are the historical lowest risk, And today, if you fund the A quality deals with Pro, you're looking at a 14.5% and expected annualized consignment profit at 1.2% for the A's. The 20% was the historical training data.
Oh, that's the historical.
Yeah, that's when everything was passing at the same rate, so that the A's were getting,
So on the riskier category, what's the return?
for the F's was negative.
No, I'm talking about
That's
the
hard.
C's. I would imagine that a riskier, you get a higher return, is that right?
So today, we're looking at 14.5 on A's, at 1.2%, and then if you fund B's, we're seeing B's are funding at about 1.6%, and the expected return there is 16.5%.
And the C's, what's the return on the C's?
Same, but the price is higher for the C's. The C's are funding at 2% a month right now, and the risk adjusted return is expected at 16.5 as well.
Fantastic, well, thanks so much.